Good morning everyone. I'm Deborah Kozlovic and I'm a Creative Memories Independent Advisor from Australia. Welcome to Creating Your Memories. In my last video I showed you a sneak peek of what's in the box, and that was our Christmas collection, Seasonal Sightings. So today I wanted to share with you a quick idea of making this border using the Poinsettia Edge Border Maker Cartridge. So to make the border today, you would need the Poinsettia Edge Cartridge, your Seasonal Sighting Embellishments, and I'm going to be using the Scarlet cardstock and just our normal white cardstock. So to start off with, to make the border, so I have got an example here that I was working on and just seeing how the effects looked with layering it on top of each other and working out the colors to see what works the best. As you can see on this border here, I've punched out the poinsettia edge and I've layered on top. So I've got 3 layers, and then I'll embellish on the front. So I'll show you how I created this border, and then you can add it to one of your Christmas page layouts this year for Christmas. So to start off with, I'm just going to get my Poinsettia border cartridge and my border maker system. So I'm just going to slot that in the housing. So on this one I used the white cardstock as my base. With this one that I'm going to make today, I'm going to use the Scarlet. We get out our border maker tray. So I'm going to insert my cardstock and line it all up. And then I'm going to punch one side of the cardstock with the poinsettia edge. So you can actually see, once I pull that out, it does have a gorgeous edging on the side of that cardstock there. So my next step after punching that side, I'm going to get my 12-inch trimmer and I'm going to line it up on 3 inches. So I'll just write that down so you can all see. So I've just punched the edge and now I'm going to cut at 3 inches. So I'm just going to line that up and then trim it at 3. So now I'll bring back in my border maker system. So I'm just going to flip that around the opposite side and I'm going to punch the opposite. So I'm just going to go down and punch that edge. So as you can see, I've got the 2 edges punched now with the poinsettia edge. So that is my base of my border. So my next step after that is I'm going to bring in my white cardstock now. So with my first, I'm going to punch the edge. So I'm just going to punch along that edge on the white cardstock. So just moving it down as it locks into place. This white cardstock is just slightly over 12 inches. So I'm just going to snip that edge there. So now that I've punched that edge, I'm going to bring back in my 12-inch trimmer. And my next cut, so that's our first. So same thing, punch in the edge. And then I'm going to trim at 2 inches. So I'm just going to line this white cardstock up on the 2-inch mark. So your tips of your poinsettia, you want to put them on that 2-inch line. So now I'm going to repeat the same process as I did with the Scarlet cardstock. So I'm going to insert that in. It's not going to fit, so to make that longer, so I've got a little bit of edging, I'm going to use my post-it notes so it still locks underneath the magnetic holder. So when I'm punching, it's not going to move. So I'm just going to put that back in my border maker tray, lining it up. And also, because this cardstock was a little bit longer than the 12 inches, I'm going to start at the opposite end. That way I have that long bit at the same end, so I can trim that off after I make my border, so then it doesn't look out of place. So I'm just going to start at the bottom, and I'm just going to punch all the way up. And as you can see, when I said about that cardstock just being a little bit longer, so now on that edge, it's got the same join. So then when I line it all up together, I can then just trim that off. So there is our white border to add to the Scarlet. So now we'll bring back in our Scarlet cardstock. I'm going to punch the edge one more time. So just lining it up and punching. So now I'm going to bring back in my 12-inch trimmer, and I'm going to line this edge up, and we're going to cut that one. So you want to punch the edge, and then my next lining up, just get my little note here, is going to be at 1 3/4 inches. So I'm just going to line that up at 1 3/4 inches. So the tip of those poinsettias sit on the 3¼ inch line there. And then again, it's going to be too short to put in my border maker tray. So I'm going to use my little Post-it notes again to line it up. So I'm just going to stick them on. So lining that in the tray and then punching again. When you come to this one, it is a little bit delicate being so small. So just take your time in punching it. So I'm just going to take off my posties. And I have to admit, I did make a boo-boo on this last one. I actually trimmed it at 1.5, not 1 3/4, which I did want the 1 3/4 because, as you can see, using the 1 3/4, it gives you that wider gap in between. So now that I've cut it at 1.5, it still looks good. It's given me a nice effect in the middle. So I'll still use that. So if I line that up on that edging there, it's still not going to look out of place. Write that down. Then I cut it at 1.5 inches. So depending on the kind of gap that you want in between, so just work from that. So if you want the wider gap, you can use the 1 3/4 inches. If you don't want as a wider gap, you can do it at the 1.5. So now we're assembling our border together. So I'm just going to use a little bit of repositional tape to put that together. So it's just a matter of lining it up in the middle. So I'm just going to sit it in between, just eyeballing it. You can use your 13 by 13 inch cutting mat. And then, as I said before, that white cardstock is a little bit longer than the Scarlet. So I'm just going to trim off that edge so it all blends. So now I'm going to put a little bit of repositional tape on the top punch out one, and then I'm going to line that up also in the middle. So as you can see the difference, like this one I've used the white as the base, but I've used the Christmas cardstock with the white, and this one's done with the Scarlet. It looks very red, but I'm happy with it. So now I'm going to bring in my embellishments. These are gorgeous embellishments, Seasonal Sightings. You have your little diamantes. You've got some wording. You've got your poinsettia flower. You've got some holly. You've got some more holly there. Poinsettia flowers. You got a wreath with the cardinal bird, and there's the other cardinal bird. These white poinsettia flowers are beautiful, look nice on the layer. You got a little birdhouse. You got some pine trees with some pine cones, some Christmas trees. Then you've got your foiled snowflakes there. We've got some foiled stars. This foil reindeer, I'm going to use that. It's going to stand out pretty well on my border. Then we got a snowman, another little snowman. You got a little bauble. You got some tags, foiled tags. Could be also used in your layout. Another wreath. This is pretty cute, the little reindeers. You got that little sign there, traditions, and then you've got holidays, and then you've got good tidings of comfort and joy. And then you've got this one here, which is Merry Christmas. So I will be also using that with my layout. So I think I'm going to place that in the middle. And this little embellishment cluster that I'm using today on my border has come from the Creative Memories site. If you buy the bundle, or if you don't buy the bundle, you can still actually get this little PDF handout of how to embellish and use your embellishments. So you can actually get this from the Creative Memories website. You can just go onto the Christmas bundle and then you will see a PDF file. This is a great way of using up your stickers, your embellishments, your laser cuts, your mats. If you have trouble setting out your embellishment clusters or how to put some embellishments together, you can actually use this as a guide. But today I like this setup here with the Merry Christmas, the reindeer and the holly. So I will be using that little cluster there today on my border. So I've got my Merry Christmas. So looking at this little handout, my holly would go down first. So I'm just going to get my repositional tape, put some on the bottom. So I think I'm going to whereabouts put it in the middle or on the side a little bit. And then around about, probably there. So then looking back at this, I've got my Merry Christmas and my reindeer. The big foam squares on the back of the Merry Christmas. Little foam squares on the back of the reindeer. I'm going to put down my Merry Christmas title. So we're going to put that in here. And then I'll put my reindeer just on the side. So as you can see, using the poinsettia edge border cartridge to making that border, and then using the seasonal sighting embellishments makes a beautiful border there. Even though that I did use a lot of red in my cardstock, but it all stands out and I'm happy with that. So if you wanted to put that on a layout, just move all these embellishments aside. So the green designer paper that I am using today, it is from the Seasonal Sighting Tone on Tone pack. I thought that using a plainer colour with my border being so much red will stand out a lot better using the some of the pages that I did have a look at were too busy with the border. You want the border to stand out and not overclash with the page. So I'm thinking might use the other side, but then I might go, looking at this now, the two greens clash, so I might use the lighter green, which is in this pack also. Nice forest green, but then you have the lighter green. I do like this with the border, but I'm finding that my holly clashes a little with that. So I'm thinking I might go the lighter green. just deciding which side. I think I might go this way. So using your designer paper and then doing a page layout, you could place your border up the top, or you could place your border down the bottom. So either way, it's going to look, you know, pretty good on the page, and it's still gonna, still gonna find that it's gonna pop. And then once you add your photos and a little bit more cluster of embellishments and stickers, it's gonna look pretty good. So if I place this down the bottom, and then if I wanted to use 2 6x4 photos, I can actually angle them slightly. And you could do a little bit of journaling over, you know, that side. You might just want to put a landscape photo on, just a 6x4. You might want to use one of the variety mats and do a little journal box on the side. But doing the 2 photos, 6x4 photos, looks pretty good like that also. My simple border that you can make with the poinsettia punch. The measurements are here. I will also put the measurements in the description bar below so you can follow that. But it's very easy to follow, very easy to make. I hope you enjoyed watching my video today and creating this border for you all. If there's any questions, please ask. Please feel free to ask me anything that you like to ask. Subscribe today, and happy scrapping.